Welcome gamers, welcome Zeds. Welcome to tutorial number 5 for Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. This time we'll go from the green level 2 to the yellow level number 3, which is called Brains. The yellow level will introduce more yellow cards, yellow heroes, yellow heroic civilians, yellow fate cards, and yellow event cards. The laboratory space and the research deck. The super weapon and its different components. Bubba's band, Petra's angels, Noel, a new disease spreader, and the final component and the antidote. Now let's start with the difference in setup. First, add the yellow characters. You realize 3 of them, shown by this icon, are science heroes, which can move into the laboratory. Shuffle them into your other heroes before you draw or choose the 4 heroes for the game. 2 new heroic civilians, also yellow of course. Shuffle them in there before you draw one that starts in town center. Shuffle the yellow fate cards together with the other ones, the blues and greens. That's the fate deck. The event deck will have a different card count, so let's go through it very quick. Add the yellow end to the other end cards. Shuffle them. Choose one face down for the bottom of the deck. Shuffle the level 4 yellow cards into the level 4 cards. Choose 2. Add in the 2 special event cards. Add them to the deck. Shuffle together the yellow level 3 cards with the other level 3 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. From the special event cards, only take 2 randomly, shuffle them together, put them on top of the event deck. Act 2, shuffle in the yellow cards, randomly choose 5. From the 3 special event cards, take 2, shuffle them together, place them on top of the event deck. Act 1, shuffle in the new cards, add 2 to the deck, then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards from the bottom, add the National Guards. That's your event deck. Remember that the card counts are different for a solo game and that you can add more cards for longer, even longer, and an epic game, which is shown in the setup guide in the rulebook. Prepare the research deck. The research deck are late research cards, early research cards, and the CDC commission card, which has no back. It's the same on both sides. Let's start with the late research cards. There are 2 different types of cards. The cards with the exclamation mark are special research cards. They will always be in the late research deck. And from the other 4, randomly select 2, shuffle them together with the special research cards. That's the bottom of the deck. From the early research card, take 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, put them on top of the deck. This will be your research deck, and this will be the first card of the discard pile. Prepare some new markers for this level, the Bubba's Band marker and the reference card, Petra's Angels marker, hi Petra, and the reference card, the Noel standee, hi Noel, and the Disease Spreaders unit reference card, then the super weapon and the super weapon components marker, the final component marker, which we need to discover the flip side, the antidote. The yellow level introduces the science heroes, and all science heroes have the science ability, which says can be moved into the hospital staff office, these are these spaces, or into the laboratory, which is this space. Each of these spaces can only hold one character each. Characters in the hospital staff office space usually have a special ability that works only there. Let's say Doc Seaver, who has his medical ability. Once per action phase, while in the hospital staff office, Seaver may spend his medical action marker to perform one heal action to any unit in the hospital. So it's a free heal action. Or Special Agent Wright. While Wright is in hospital staff office, add 1 to all player units' saving rolls, so they can help at the hospital. Research is a new action that can be performed, but it can only be performed at the laboratory, so you need a science hero in the laboratory space. Research takes 1 action per research. Let's say we are at 3. I'll spend an action and I roll a die, and the number I need for a successful research is shown on the current research card. The current research card is always the card on top of the research discard pile. That's why we already start with the CDC commission. So I need a 3, 4, 5 or 6 plus. I roll a die. It's a 5. I apply any special abilities of the character, like Professor AG. She receives +1 to her research die rolls, and if I hit the range here, then I can flip over the next research card. That shows the successful research. There are a lot of different cards, and there are 2 types of cards. The gray cards are immediate effects, like remove 1 chaos marker for free with no infection level increase, and it shows the next numbers you need to roll for your next research. Okay, let's see what else we have. We have, like, well, look at that, -2 infection. I need a 5 and 6 for the next research. Or another gray card, no special event occurs. But the next research is easier because Sasha Brooks now is in the laboratory with us. And then we have yellow cards. And yellow cards have an effect as long as they are the current research card. Like this one, half turning. Well, this is the current research card. All Z outbreaks automatically reset the infection level to 2. Instead of, we remember, the dice roll of 2 dice. So as long as they are the top card, this effect stays in play. What else do we have? Rumors of Hope. Well, this is the current research card. Add 1 to all your saving rolls, and so on. There's a gray card again. An important rule is that you can only have 1 successful research in a turn. So you cannot just research. As long as you fail your research, you can do more research actions, but as soon as you had a successful research, you cannot research anymore in this turn. Now, what do the late research cards hold for us? Remember, there are 5 special research cards, they're always in there, and then 2 random ones. So let's say we had another successful research, in this case on a 5 or 6 plus, and we come to a regular card. There's no exclamation mark here, so it says anti-growth hormone. You may replace any one Super Zeds unit with 1 random unit retaining its current number of hits. So a Super Zeds turns into a normal Zeds. And there's something more we need for the next research. We need a 5 and 6 plus, and we need to spend a supply. That's the same on all late research cards. Then 4 of the late research cards are super weapon cards. We discover a component of the super weapon. The first time you discover a super weapon, just place the super weapon marker here to show that you discovered it. And then you can choose one of those 5 super weapon abilities, which I'll explain a bit later. Let's say this one. On the back it shows its ability. There are 4 super weapon feature cards. There are 5 super weapon features to choose from, but you can only have 3 super weapon components, except if Professor AG is in the laboratory, because her special ability is she can attain a 4th super weapon component. That's the bioengineering. Then somewhere in the late research deck there will be the antidote breakthrough. The first time you discover this card, you'll place the final component. You found the final component for the antidote and place it in the lab space, and then shuffle the card back into the research deck. Let's see, we have another super weapon feature, we have another super weapon feature, we have an ongoing effect, the yellow card, while this is the current research card, and so on. And there we have the second time the antidote breakthrough. In this case, we managed to discover the antidote. The antidote marker is then placed on the infection track, which you cannot see at the moment, and it will decrease infection by 1 each housekeeping phase. That's pretty helpful. That's it for research. If you're through the deck, there's no more research you can take, but congratulations if you have enough actions to go through the full research deck. Now let's have a quick look at the 5 super weapon components you can discover. The first one is the Zeds Knuckles, and it's written on the back of the marker. You get a +1 shift in hand-to-hand attacks, but only when you're attacking. The next one is the Hypno Z gun, which gives you a +1 shift in gunfire attacks. We have the Zeds treats, which automatically inflict 1 hit when attacked in hand-to-hand combat. So when a Zeds unit attacks you, it automatically takes 1 hit. Then we have double phosphor rounds. When you inflict 2 or more hits to a Zeds unit on a space, all the Zeds units in that space retreat 1 space. This can be very handy, and maybe you remember this from the 2nd edition super weapon. And then we have grenades. Grenades can be thrown in an adjacent space, and they deal 4 hits, which you have to distribute evenly among all the Zeds units in the space, including the disease spreaders, which is pretty cool because normally you cannot attack them if there are other Zeds units in the same space. Also, it adds a chaos marker to that space. Once the super weapon is discovered, the effects can be used by all civilian units, all hero units, and the National Guard. But the National Guard has to reach town or town center space first before it can use the super weapon. Then we have 3 more units that might show up due to a fate or event card. One is another disease spreading unit. This is the same as the rats we already had, the infected vermins, except for Noelle is a bit stronger. She has strength 3, otherwise she has the same rules as the infected vermin. Remember, disease spreaders increase infection by 1 every infection phase, and this is per disease spreader, so now you can have 2 on the board, which can be pretty annoying. Next is Bubba's Band, and Bubba's Band follows the rules of the Raiders unit we covered in one of the last videos. They are just a bit stronger and meaner, meaning they get a +1 shift in hand-to-hand combat. And when they arrive at town center, they steal ammos and supply just like the Raiders did, corresponding to their strength 6 or 3. But in addition, they inflict 1 hit to each unit in the town center or in a town space. Then they are removed from the game. Then we have Petra's Angels, which is almost treated like a civilian unit. So there are player controls, stacking limit applies, they restore order, and so on. But they have 2 features. One is that for the gunfire attacks they use 1 supply instead of 1 ammo. And the other is that they are not very well liked in Farmingdale, so they cannot end their movement on a space with another player unit, another civilian or hero unit. You can move through spaces with other units, but you cannot end the movement on a space with a civilians or hero unit, except for in town center, where the town is big enough so they can get out of each other's way. Now that's it. That's the new component and the new rules for level 3, the Brains scenario. Our next tutorial will cover level 5, the Walking Dead scenario, and for this we'll flip over our board and we'll introduce a 5th track, the tunnel track. Stay tuned, see you then. Bye!